Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here to talk about The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. This is the third film in the Conjuring franchise, and I'm kind of sort of a big fan of the franchise. No, I take it back. I'm going to say a big fan. I'm not a big fan of horror in general. I kind of like the way that the horror genre has kind of transitioned from stupidity and jump scares, like people falling over and all that, like really dumb movies, into a genre that's kind of based more on suspense. And I think The Conjuring is kind of like at the forefront of that change. I think The Conjuring was a reawakening for the horror genre, and I really enjoyed the Conjuring and the second one. I thought they were pretty good films, and I don't even like that genre of movie that much, so that says quite a bit. I'm kind of now more in the vein of like The Witch or The Lighthouse, those like kind of artsy fartsy. I'll admit it, it's a little uppity. These kind of like artsy fartsy kind of suspense horror films. That's more my lane, but I can still rock with The Conjuring and its spinoffs as well. So I was excited to see it. I don't know, for some reason I just kind of felt like this wasn't going to hit as hard because, like, you know, it's been done at this point several times over with several spinoffs. So it was kind of just like, okay, well, I'll check it out. You know, I got nothing else to do. I'll check it out and review it for the channel. So I sat down and watched it, and strangely enough, I had to watch it over the course of several days. My wife kept falling asleep on it. I think I fell asleep on it once. And that's not an indictment on the film, by the way. It's captivating. It's interesting enough to keep you engaged. I was just tired. I've been sick on and off for probably about the past 2 weeks. So sometimes I'm kind of doped up on medicine and I might knock out. It is what it is. But I watched it over the course of a few days, and I found it to be the least interesting of the three in the franchise, though I did like the fact that it kind of was more almost like, it was kind of almost more like a murder mystery than it was a horror movie or suspense film. It had its moments. It started off great. There's a great opening sequence with an exorcism. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a great opening sequence that's an exorcism that I thought, okay, we might be in for a good little ride here. But it kind of fell back into a lot of the tropes that even the Conjuring franchise has relied on too much. And it kind of got to a point where I'm like, okay, this isn't really that interesting. It's not really that scary. It's not really that suspenseful. It was just kind of middling. Like, it's nothing where it's like, it's not actively bad or I'm like, that was dumb. There were a couple things that I thought were dumb, but it wasn't a bad film at all. It was just okay. You know, it was like, it's not anything you need to check out right away. If you love the first two, you'll probably like this one. It's likable. I liked it, but it's not something where it's like, oh man, you got to see this one. It's another banger in the franchise. No, not really. So, what I did like about it was, again, that opening scene I thought was really cool. And I did like the fact that they did try to do something a little different by almost having this murder mystery thing. But it's called The Devil Made Me Do It because it's based on a real life case, obviously, that revolves around a guy the first guy to try to claim demonic possession as a reason for murder, you know, as to pleading not guilty, saying the devil made me do it. It wasn't me. And I actually looked up this case, and I found the case to be a little bit more interesting than the movie. And I found Ed and Lorraine Warren in general to be a little bit more interesting, the real life versions of them, than the movie versions of them. And that's not a knock against the movie versions of them. I think Patrick Wilson, I think his name is, and Vera Farmiga are great. Like, I really like those two as a pair. I really like those two in this franchise. And they alone are enough to keep me watching the movies if they keep putting them out. I really like those two. But the actual Ed and Lorraine Warren, it seems to be up in the air whether or not these two were scam artists. And I find that to be a little bit more intriguing than the actual movies and the cases that they supposedly experienced. But yeah, apparently this movie's based upon a guy who killed I think it was his landlord or something like that. I don't know if it's his landlord in the film. I can't recall, but I think it is. But he kills his landlord, and he basically says, hey, I was possessed. And Ed and Lorraine Warren are kind of like brought in to investigate. And the movie mixes in this this situation with like a master Satanist who is trying to pull off this curse, and there's like three different things that have to happen. It's unnecessarily convoluted, and I don't think we ever even get the answer of why she chose the individuals that she chose, which is kind of weird because I felt like that's where we were going, and that's where the Warrens were going, trying to figure out, okay, who is this woman and why did she choose the individuals that she chose to curse? And then we end up finding out who she is, but it has nothing to do with why she chose the people she chose. And I found that to be, I don't know, a little sloppy. So John Noble is in this, and if you don't know John Noble, I know him from Fringe. If you haven't watched Fringe, it's an excellent TV series. He's the star of it, one of the stars of it, and he's in this. He's super creepy, so it was great to see him again. I haven't seen him in quite a while. I've seen him since Fringe, but I don't remember what it was in. But really good to see him again. That was fun. So one of the things that I didn't like, and this has kind of become kind of a trope in horror films, but even in the Conjuring franchise as well, or not even just Conjuring, but like this whole genre of like exorcism films, you get these situations where they present new rules as they come up. It's not like there's, I'm used to, and I don't want to say what I'm used to as a way of saying like this is how things should be, but when you're watching these exorcism movies or anything that's kind of scary, you're accustomed to rules, right? Even if you're talking about what's the other? There's some other genre. Oh, like zombie and vampire films. Like those things, they have rules, right? You can change the rules up, and like Army of the Dead did, in a successful way. But you need to still establish the rules, and they break out new rules throughout the course of this movie that I found kind of annoying. It's like, okay, it starts off kind of like, okay, we need to investigate these two people who were cursed. And then it's like, oh, wait, no, there's a third. And then it was like, well, we stopped her from harming this one person, so we should be good, right? And it's like, no, actually, we have to go to find where she's at and destroy the altar where she did the thing. And it's like, they keep presenting these rules that kind of serve to propel the plot forward. And it feels like it almost kind of feels like a version of plot armor where like you could see a character that should have died, but because they're too vital to the plot, that person stays alive through whatever like miraculous and implausible circumstances. And it's kind of like that where it's like, theoretically the movie could have wrapped up, but it's like, oh wait, no, that's not the rules. But those weren't the rules. Like the rules weren't established. So it's like every time something comes up, it's like, oh wait, no, we have to do this. And it's like, well, I didn't know we have to do that. So that's kind of annoying when like new rules are presented throughout the course of the film. Things that like new hurdles that they have to overcome, as opposed to maybe laying out the hurdles at the start. Then that makes it a little bit more plausible. You could say, okay, I'm reading this book about Satan worshiping, and it says that you have to, in order to pull off this curse, you have to do blah, 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 blank, blank, blank. And in order to stop it, you have to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whatever, right? As opposed to events happening, and then you discover, oh, wait, we have one person. Oh, wait, now there's a second. Oh, wait, now there's a third. Oh, wait, now there's this other hurdle that we have to overcome in order to stop the person. It's like, I don't know, it feels, I don't know, it makes a genre that's already implausible, at least in my opinion, less plausible. So I didn't really like that aspect of it. I didn't like the fact that there's a scene with like another preacher. Like there's a number of preachers in in this film, but there's one in particular who comes in like fucking amateur hour. This guy starts to read his prayers or whatever. The lights start flickering. He goes, "Oh, that must be bad wiring." Okay. I'm watching a movie about an exorcism or about demonic possession and whatnot, and you got a priest here who's dismissing flickering lights as he's about to perform an exorcism as bad wiring. I'm like, okay, come on, this is fucking amateur hour with this guy. And then all he did was read the Lord's Prayer over and over and over, and like, to me that just felt like unimaginative writing. Like, you can't read from like a spell book or read something else from the Bible. Like, why would you read the most generic fucking passage over and over and over again? And from my perspective, I almost thought this was meant to be played as laughs. Like there's no way we're meant to take this guy seriously, right? But like the whole rest of the scene plays out like it was meant to be taken seriously. And I'm like, okay. They did not really put too much effort into making this priest even remotely believable. And this whole scene is kind of ridiculous. But you know, I didn't like that aspect of it. What else did I want to mention? A little bit more about this master Satanist. So I mentioned that the master Satanists, they're kind of the whole premise of the movie. The premise of the movie is not about this trial where this guy is taking the devil made me do it defense. The trial thing doesn't happen until like the last 5 minutes, and they don't even actually show the trial or the verdict. They just put it on words on the screen. So the movie ain't even about the fucking trial. It's about figuring out who this master Satanist is and how do we stop this individual. And I think I feel like the master Satanist nature and motivations were unclear throughout the entirety of the film. Like, I didn't even know if this was a real, like, tangible, physical person or not. If this was like a demon or if this was, you know, someone who was real. And that doesn't even come to light until fairly late in the film. And I don't think that could have been because I had to watch it in like 3 separate occasions, but I don't think that's what it was. I think it really was kind of a thing where they just weren't that clear with it. And like I said, they didn't really lay out this person's motivations. Again, maybe I missed it, but I was paying pretty close attention last night, and I remember distinctly finding out who the master Satanist is, their relation to another character in the film, but not why they chose the individuals that they chose for cursing these people. Now maybe you can hit me in the comments and be like, hey Mike, you weren't paying attention, you stupid fuck. It was it was this reason and that reason, and that's fine. Hey, it's a horror movie. It's not meant to be looked at through a magnifying glass, right? But all in all, it's just okay. It's middling. Part of the core is kind of just like, all right, well. I didn't walk away from this feeling like I got gypped. I didn't walk away from it thinking like I'm going to get in front of this camera and go, hey, you guys, you need to watch this fucking movie like I did with The Lighthouse. Watch The Lighthouse. Don't watch this. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say don't watch it. It's not bad, but you don't need to watch this. It's okay. It's the least interesting entry in the franchise. You're not going to miss anything if you don't watch it. But I mean, if you're a fan of the franchise, and I'm a fan of the franchise, it is still entertaining at times. It's not one of those, oh, I'm looking at my watch, like, when is this going to be over? Or two. The only time I said something like this is dumb was that one amateur hour priest. Like, that's the only time I was like, okay, this is stupid. And then I think there's one time where somebody falls. Anytime somebody falls in a horror movie, I kind of check out. Because I'm like, okay, we're really doing that. You're doing that unironically. You're going to have somebody fall while they're running. Like, this is not a joke. Like, you're doing this. I'm supposed to be concerned for this character now, even though that is the biggest trope in horror film history, is running from somebody and tripping and falling over. We are still doing that shit in 2021. That stupid fucking shit. We're still doing that. I mind blowing that we're still doing people tripping in the fucking woods. I can't get over that. But by that point, I was already kind of, I was bought in on the movie. I rolled my eyes like, ugh, but it's fine. So I think it's worth checking out if you're a fan of the franchise. If you haven't seen any of the other ones, or you don't like the franchise, it's just okay. You might like it if you're a fan, but otherwise, I can do with it. I can do without it. If another one comes out, I'll probably watch it, but it's not something I'm really going to be checking for. This one, I think, severely missed James Wan, but we'll see. So I'm going to check out the Spiral, the Saw movie. I'm going to check that out. My basis for judging a Saw movie is how difficult is it to watch. So if it's difficult to watch, it's going to get a thumbs up from me. If it's kind of just like, oh, that's not that bad, then it's going to get a thumbs down. And then I'm going to check out The Quiet Place 2. I don't know when I'm going to be able to do that, but whenever I do, I'll review both of those here on this channel. And then coming up, still going to be watching Loki, finishing up The Handmaid's Tale, Lupin. Oh man, there's so much stuff. Rick and Morty starts this month. I can't remember. There's so much stuff. So lots of coverage coming. So stick with me. Drop in the comments what you think about this film. If maybe I missed the connection between the Satanist and the individuals that she chose to curse. And yeah, that's all I got. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.